Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Well, my goodness, we're having an interesting video today. We have several topics to cover and several updates at the end. You don't want to miss this. Let's go. I am starting this morning with a comment that was put on one of my videos by Misty Payne, where I got complimented. She said I was killing it. Yes, I think getting COVID and 3 trips to the hospital in 3 weeks, being unable to breathe, made me realize that I could do better videos. So thank you for the compliment. I hope I will continue to be killing it. Let's move on. All right, big story that we're starting with this morning. Do you guys remember this letter that Meghan Markle sent where literally all she wrote about was, it was her. She referred to herself 40 times in the letter, and it was all about allowing leave for parents when they have their kids. It had already gone through Congress. Her letter, people were laughing because she was asking Congress to pass whatever, and it had already gone through Congress. They were trying to ratify it. Anyway, there were some negotiations going on, and people were concerned that if the bill did make it all the way through, she would take credit for it. Let's face it, this woman would take credit for inventing the wheel if she could. But then this happened. Biden, the president that she went to bat for, dropped the proposal from his plan. That's right. Thanks a lot, Meghan. You had to stick your face in it. I'm saying that for several reasons. Number one, in case you guys haven't noticed, whenever she touches anything, something bad happens. I wonder if her sending that letter didn't hurt the cause instead of help the cause. Let's not forget that in that letter, she basically insinuated that her own family was impoverished, which we all know was untrue. And my second reason is I think her letter hurt it severely because if the proposal had gone through, she would have taken full credit for it. And a lot of the senators don't like her and don't like her using her foreign titles to try to interfere in American politics. That may have been why it got killed. And just as an FYI, you guys should all know that Trump had signed into law legislation that gave federal workers, and there are millions of federal workers, that gave federal workers all this paid leave when they had their babies, but Biden wiped it out and reversed it the second he got into office. I'm not sure why. Okay, going on. Now, the reason that I said letters in the title of this video is because then the two of them wrote another open letter where they're demanding vaccine equality again, trying to insert themselves again. This letter was released one day before the summit in Rome that, FYI, they were not invited to, urging leaders to hand out vaccines to poor countries. Once again, if this happens, she's going to claim that it was partly due to her. This is where it gets interesting, my friends, because do you remember when Meghan and Harry met with this group of people to discuss this very thing? I didn't pay much attention to all the people in the room other than Chelsea Clinton until I saw this from Omid Scobie. He names all the people who support the letter that Harry and Meghan have written. And that's when I said, wait a minute, who was in that room? Besides Harry and Meghan, who were in the room, obviously, who are worth $50 million, you have Chelsea Clinton, who's worth $30 million. Doubt I'm saying this correctly, but you have Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, who joined the meeting virtually, who's worth $27.8 million. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the former leader of Liberia, who's worth anywhere, it's reported, from $23 million to $1.2 billion. Again, I hope I say it right. You had Winnie Bynayim, who is worth $5 million. And finally, you had Anil Soni, who's reported to be worth $2 billion. So just like with their podcast, you have a bunch of multi-millionaires sitting around a table complaining how the vaccine costs these poor countries and it should be equal and available, which I believe it is. But not one of these people donated a freaking dime to help get the vaccine to these countries. Typical. And the letter was signed by those people as well as, I think it's Sean Berkeley, who's also a multimillionaire. It's just a bunch of multimillionaires telling other people what to do, but not really helping. So once again, you guys were very vocal because they're demanding an end to COVID-19. Shireen said, somebody please take that pen. I think world leaders are exhausted reading all of her demands. This Twitter follower pointed out exactly what I said, an open letter calling for an end to phonies being allowed enormous unearned wealth and media exposure due to their connections with the British royal family. And I agree that they do personify inequality, injustice, and corporate greed. And finally, Cindy pointed out that it took 200 years to get rid of smallpox. Really? I mean, do they really think that by stomping their feet and screaming and writing a letter somehow we're going to end this disease? I don't think so. But I bet Harry thinks that writing a letter from him will fix it all. I'm sure. So tell me, how do you guys feel about multimillionaires telling people who have worked hard to come up with these vaccines that they should give it away for free, get rid of their proprietary rights, not make any money, and yet they're unwilling to put any money in? Y'all, my head is hurting. Like, seriously. All right, next up, we have Brightly Storytime, which is on YouTube, and they put up a thing saying, we're over the moon, Meghan Markle's going to read her book. That would be the same book about a pasty white kid and his pasty white dad living in a beautiful house that she read to the impoverished kids in Harlem. So I noticed almost immediately that there were more dislikes than likes. And the dislikes kept going up. The numbers kept rising. And rising. Yikes. People don't like this, and for good reason. So let's take a look at it, shall we? The reason Meghan is now on YouTube peddling this book is it's part of the deal that she had with Random Penguin or Penguin Random House Books, the people who published it. We all know that the book did not sell well. She wasn't donating any of the money to charity. This is all going into her pocket. Penguin Random House invited her to read part of that book to try to kickstart the sales of the book. So I just got done watching Neil Sean, and he pointed out that this was really an important video for Meghan because this was her chance to prove to the bookseller that she was worth being invested in. He pointed out, and I completely agree, that it does not matter who you are. If you can't sell stuff, then nobody's interested in you. So it'll be interesting to see if this kickstarts her sales. And do you guys remember this? William did a book about the Earthshot Prize, and it shot to the top, and then you never heard about it again, but people are buying it. And it's the same with Catherine's Hold Still book. It shot to the top, you never heard anything else about it. Meghan keeps pushing her book and pushing her book and pushing her book and pushing it. She's giving it out. She's reading it online because the sales sucked. So she goes online on YouTube, she's reading her book, and the first thing she does is introduce herself with her title, The Duchess of Sussex. So it's very obvious that for all of her blathering about how she doesn't care about titles, she really does, and she is clinging to this title with both hands. A lot of people made comments online saying that the second she said, I'm Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, they switched it off. Because who introduces themselves that way to children? So right off the bat, she read her little thing at the front that said, for the man and the boy that make my heart go pump, pump. Well, you guys know how much I love Australian news. I have 2 clips from 2 different groups. It's absolutely hilarious. Watch this.
I always say, pump, pump.
Exactly.
Up the jam.
Pump the jam, pump it up.
Wow, your feet are so big. I want a place to
Sugar.
Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. Place to stay. There you go.
It was like waterboarding. It was like torture. I was screaming in agony. It's so bad. It is worse than the worst one of those cat videos that sticks in your head. All afternoon, I've had this awful kind of thing ringing in my head. Why did you do it to me, mate? There should be a trigger warning on it. Do not watch that thing. It is so bad for your taste and your mental well-being.
All right, this last little bit we're going to cover are these articles that are coming out now. Harry is hoping to return to the UK. Okay, I've said it before, I'll say it again, that Meghan and those kids will never step foot in the UK again. It will never happen. The only reason Meghan would ever have returned is if they could have done the christening, and since that was shut down, I guess she feels there's no point in going. She wanted a picture of the Queen with the baby so she could commercialize it. That's all. And then you see stuff like this. Harry's in panic mode. He should be in panic mode because, let's be honest, he's probably responsible for a lot of what's going on with the Queen right now. All this undue stress, all of his attacks on the royal family. He even claimed that she caused unconscious pain, genetic pain to Charles, who passed it to him. I mean, he's been crapping all over her. He should feel so guilty about the things he has said and done that have affected his grandmother. He should feel guilty, but I guarantee you he doesn't. And he's not going to fly over there until she dies and he goes for the funeral. Okay, just a few more odds and ends at the end. The Sussex squad, who supposedly love Meghan and talk about her peace, love, and light, these have recently come to light. This is some of the most disgusting, vile stuff. This has been reported to Twitter, but Twitter has not removed them. So if any of you followers, listen, I believe in free speech. They should have the right to say whatever, but not when it becomes stuff like this. So if you see this kind of stuff, just report it. And I have finally an update on the Boozy affair. Apparently, Mr. Boozy became aware that his comments went out, and he's writing now that he got in trouble for them. Gee, you think? Then he wrote why people are tweeting confidential documents. Why are they contacting journalists to try to discredit me? You know, why am I such a threat? Why are they doing this? To start with, the bankruptcy records are public documents, not private. And the fact that he admits that his report had fewer than 100 accounts on it shows that he knew what he was doing, and now there's backlash, and he's upset about the backlash. But that's what happens. I absolutely love the response that was given to him. If you have to freeze it to read it, go right ahead. And by the way, the man who claims that, he's this great person on Twitter himself was suspended for misbehaving and probably rotten tweets about the royal family. Next up, this was sent to me by a follower, and I think it's just spot on. Meghan does not represent American women because we unite our families, not divide them. We are equal to our husbands, not above them. We protect our children, not fake and monetize them. We work for a living and not live off men, blackmail, taxpayers, and charities. We respect our elders, not hurt them. This woman is an embarrassment to all American, caring, honest, and hardworking women and mothers. I am preaching, y'all. Say amen. And one more thing. Apparently, at some point, I said that Google owns Twitter. Google does not own Twitter. What I was trying to say was that Meghan and Harry had joined with that ethical banking, and they had put millions into Twitter, Facebook, and all these social media accounts, and that's why I believe they're now trying to silence them. That's what I meant. I misspoke. I apologize. We started with the Queen, and we're going to end with the Queen. I just love her. Lots of information. Do you guys think that Meghan's letter to Congress hurt Biden's plan? Because I honestly do. What do you guys think about the publisher putting Meghan on YouTube to read her book, trying to boost book sales because it did not do as well as everybody thought? They probably lost some money in the deal. What do you think about the supposed reports that Harry is so upset about his grandmother's health? Personally, I think they're just reports. I don't think he's that upset. Just like he wouldn't fly over to see his grandfather before his death, he won't be seeing her before she dies either. What do you guys think about what's happening now with Mr. Boozy and his Twitter account? FYI, I didn't do that to publicly shame him per se, but it shows a lot to character. If you're going to go around and act like you're some innocent victim of whatever, and the truth is your company is failing and financially you're a mess, it just doesn't look good for your character. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do it to shame him. Let's just make that clear. What do you guys think about the vaccine equality letter that just happened to be sent out the day before everybody got together in Rome? I said it before and I'll say it again. If anything is accomplished in Rome, Harry and Meghan will try to say it was all because of their letter and they'll try to take full credit. Don't forget to put those comments below. You know how much I love them. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future uploads. Don't forget you can email me. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter. And don't forget about my tip jar / coffee fund. Just send some money in there if you want to buy me a coffee. And as always, you guys, have a great day.